Ugh, I hate this game, it's full of bugs! Man, I love this game, it's full of bugs! Bug Fables, the Everlasting Sapling, which I will now call Bug Fables because the sapling is definitely not important to the plot whatsoever, is a role-playing game developed by Panamanian indie studio Moonsprout Games, released on November 21st, 2019 on Steam, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Bug Fables takes heavy inspiration from the first two Paper Mario games, you know, before whatever the hell this is. Bug Fables takes place in Bulgaria, not to be confused with Bulgaria, a place where sentient bugs live. Our journey follows Team Snakemouth, comprised of 3 heroes, V the Bee, Kabu the Beetle, and Leaf the Moth, and their journey across Bulgaria in search of ancient artifacts and the unimportant sapling for the Queen, which is said to give bugs eternal life. They'll meet new friends, enemies, and Tangerine. You're adorable, I love you. In this epic quest. Bug Fables is a pretty standard RPG with the overworld sections and battles. The overworld looks great, but we'll get to that in a later section. One thing to note is that you can switch the party leader, and with that, the leader can perform different actions, such as Kabu being able to cut grass, V being able to throw her beamerang, and Leaf being able to freeze objects. The party members gain more abilities as they go, such as digging, flight, and ice bridging. Enemies appear in the overworld, and approaching them starts a battle. Each party member gets 1 turn to attack with either a regular attack or a skill that costs teamwork points. To perform these attacks, you must input the command shown on the screen, or else that command will fail and do less damage. You can also use items, pass the turn to a teammate, or spy the enemy to get more information on them. After your party is done with all their turns, it's the enemy's turn to attack. With that, if you time a button press correctly, you can block an attack to take less damage, and even super block if you've got the balls and good reflexes. Each character has a purpose in combat. With their normal attacks, V is the only one that can hit flying enemies, Kabu can flip enemies that are shielding as well as bypass a point of defense, and Leaf can hit enemies that are buried in the ground. You won't go without using all of them in a fight. There's medals which you can equip for a certain amount of MP that provide benefits or new skills. What I like about the medals is that some of them look incredibly useless, like who would want poison to last forever? But when you see medals like Poison Attacker and Poison Defender, which buff your stats when you're poisoned, it gets you to think about how you want to set up your characters in a way where you're making the most out of your medals. There's over 100 of them, some are good, and some let you throw a pebble. Great work, Kabu! It's your choice which ones you want to put on which character. The game's progression is something that's done really well. You start off with a few skills, but as you progress with each level up, your team can get more HP, more teamwork points and NP, as well as new skills, but some skills are locked behind plot progression. I do like that as the game starts out, you're really just a random group of explorers that weren't friends beforehand and don't exactly get along, but as the story progresses and the group gets to know each other, you gain access to skills that involve multiple team members, and it's those skills that do the most damage to your enemies. There's a whole lot of other systems, like berries, which are the currency that you can use to buy items for battles or quest items, a cooking system, which you can combine or strengthen the effects of items, and side quests that provide rewards that are sometimes worth it. Being a game inspired by Paper Mario, it's bound to have some great writing. While the game, as expected, is a cute and silly game about bugs, Bug Fables can be serious if it wants to. Each of Team Snakemouth is written wonderfully, and their character really shines through with the interactions they have with each other and characters outside of the team. This game's characters are great, even the side characters are all really good, though obviously not as fleshed out as the main 3. Each of the 3 main characters have traits that make them endearing. V is childish, sassy, and greedy, and is not afraid to speak up to anyone, even the fucking queen herself, but she still very clearly cares for her friends. Kabu is brave, heroic, and selfless, but shows that there's more to him beneath his hard shell, like his adoration for the fictional Bug Rangers. Leaf is nonchalant and snarky. He's surprisingly reasonable, but also encourages V's antics at times. While he is quite literally cool, he does have a soft spot for cute little bugs. These characters create a wonderful dynamic between them and makes every interaction worth reading. Bug Fables' heartwarming moments are some of my favorite parts of the game, with V's request being one of my favorites in particular. Even outside of major character interactions, there's plenty of funny moments to be found, from trying to insert Kabu's Bug Ranger plushie into a keyhole, certain items like the mistake where you cook poorly. You can then cook that mistake to make a big mistake that lowers a character's health to a single point and poisons them. The game even tells you to, please don't. Even the names of the tracks in the OST are hilarious. Who can forget such legendary tracks as His Friends Call Him Spuder, Don't Call Him Spuder, Snug as a Bug in a Sub, Battle Against Ultimax, Who Has a Tank, Oh No, WASPS, and my personal favorite, Mecha Bee Destroyer Blast Lord. It is actually formatted with all caps. I'll have a few funny moments here with my friends and I voicing Team Snakemouth. Key is voicing V because Key rhymes with V, and Shivs is voicing Leaf because Shivs rhymes with Leaf. Goodness, they've truly created an artificial island!
Is that safe?
Well, everyone seems quite calm, so...
Sorry guys, if it sinks, I'm flying away.
No, you're not. You're drowning with us.
No! Isn't the power on? Why is it not working?
Just kick it.
This is valuable government property, we can't just...
Just kick it.
Whoa, it
See?
actually worked.
Whatever, let's just see what we can do with this terminal.
Now it's in the circle.
Oi!
Now it's in the circle.
Leaf, what's wrong?
Nothing. We just reacted to this guy's geek energy.
Don't you toy with our care for you!
Sorry.
Miss Collie's made quite a name for herself in town. Her wares are very popular.
They're way too expensive.
And we're already beautiful.
All right. Like Paper Mario, Bug Fables has flat 2D characters in a 3D environment. The game's colors are simplistic yet vibrant, and the characters are in a hand-drawn art style with thick black outlines that really make them pop. The world design in this game is spectacular. You'll see many everyday objects littered about, and the entire map of Bugaria is just some person's backyard. It just looks big because you are a bug and therefore about as small as my self-confidence. Like, look at this, the desert is a sandbox, that's really clever. Other than that, the world of Bugaria is filled with charm. The scenery of places like the Golden Hills and the Hive and even Snakemouth Den is wonderful. Despite being in a backyard, Bugaria feels more lively than just some patch of grass. I mean, just look at this, where's the character development? Each of the areas has its own different feeling, from the Ant Kingdom's simple yet friendly atmosphere to the Termite Kingdom, which has a modern nighttime city feel with neon signs everywhere. If we're gonna talk about Bug Fables, then I've gotta bring up this game's kick-ass soundtrack done by Tristan Ulrich. I'll be dedicating this section to playing some of my favorite tracks in the OST. I'll have to limit myself to like 7 because I don't want this video to last longer than Persona 5. I give Bug Fables The Everlasting Sapling a 10 out of 10. That's right, 10 out of 10. I really love this game. The story is well written and threw a bunch of surprises my way, the battle system is fun, the OST is great, and there's a ton of content. If you find the game too easy, there's hard mode, which comes in the form of a medal that you can equip for no cost, and unequip at any time if it's too hard for you. Hard mode is ruthless, but it also gives you extra loot and exclusive medals. There's 50 crystal berries, which are hidden across the map and are hard to find, and you can trade those in for medals. There's an arcade to play some mindless mini-games, optional and post-game bosses, extra quests, the Cave of Trials where you fight a bunch of enemies like the Pit of 100 Trials in Paper Mario games. There's even an entire card game called Spy Cards. The cards are from when you spy an enemy to get their information in battle, and as you spy more enemies, you get more cards to play with. It's surprisingly fun to play, and there's a client to play the game online with your friends, and I'll link that in the description. And just like the game's story, I got completely sidetracked because of this fucking card game. I only picked up this game very recently, but I instantly fell in love with it. This game is not shy about its inspirations, but I do slightly prefer Bug Fables over the older Paper Mario games. Instead of having a lot of partners like Paper Mario, the game gives you 3 characters only for the entire game. Well, 3 characters and an adorable plant, but it's optional to get. Okay, no playthrough is complete without Chompy, just look at her. With only 3 characters, the game spends a lot more time showing their personalities and giving them development, instead of forcing too many characters into the story and having most of them stay in the background after their chapters. This definitely paid off, since Bug Fables' main cast are some of my favorite characters in fiction to date. I can relate to and empathize with all 3 of Team Snakemouth, and the later moments shared between them really feels like a tightly knit group of friends, and that gives me a warm feeling. Instead of making real friends, I get to watch bugs be friends with each other. And I'm okay with that. I love Bug Fables, but no game is perfect. But man, this one's real close. The only complaint I have is that there are too many bugs in this game. Alright, fine. The overworld platforming sections are annoying to play through. A lot of it has to do with a flat art style. V's boomerang is hard to sweet spot onto Crank's, and Leaf's freeze does not last long enough until you get the optional medal to lengthen it, and the rock and ice physics are very wacky. This leads to platforming sections being tedious and frustrating as hell. Yeah, I get that it's ice and all, but can you please stop falling off for 1 second? I highly recommend Bug Fables. It is an absolute gem of a game, and I can't believe that not many people talk about it or have played it. You may see a lot of comparisons to Paper Mario, but don't get me wrong, this game stands on its own as a great experience. It's lasted me over 30 hours without completing everything there is in this game, and I plan on replaying it for the hard mode and grabbing all the achievements too. After playing it, Bug Fables has become my 5th favorite game of all time. A real big feat for a little bug game. You know, after playing Bug Fables, I think I'm finally ready to conquer my fear of real bugs. Nope. Yeah, I'll stick to bug-related video games from now on. Get me out of here! Bugs are terrifying!